Hello, this is Angela with Progress Permaculture. I hope you watched the first part of this short two-part series where I talked about benefits of keeping poultry in your permaculture system that are not about food production. If you are a vegan and considering what are the integrated ways I could utilize livestock in my garden that don't involve consuming products that come from their bodies, there are ways you can keep and enjoy poultry and have them provide a benefit to your system that has nothing to do with food production. And I hope you check out that video. Today, I want to talk about some cautions, some things to think about if you are going to add chickens, ducks, turkeys, guinea fowl, etc., to your permaculture system. These are things that you need to consider whether you live in an urban, suburban, or in a larger rural area. Number one, the first thing to consider is where will you keep your poultry and what will their hi French fry, what will their pasture look like? For me here, I only have a 1/4 acre and my poultry do not free range on the entire property. I used to let them do that more than 10 years ago and it was a mess. I don't have a wild system. I have a managed system where I am the gardener, I am the permaculturist, and that means I need to design carefully, and that means I have input into the system. I have 3 paddocks and I shift my poultry around. I have some videos on this subject so that they cannot willy-nilly scratch and destroy and eat whatever they want. They go where I want them to and they do what I want them to. And in that design, I think about my plants as well as my poultry. And I want to give my plants time to rest. I don't want the pressure on them to be so heavy that they get destroyed. And believe me, chickens are real freaking good at destroying things in your garden. So what will your system look like? Get your fencing, your housing set up early and think about how much space do my poultry need and what kind of impact are they going to have? What is the intensity of their activity on my system, on different corners of my garden? Fence appropriately. The second thing is, how many birds can my system sustain? So many of us, and I have been guilty of this in the past and probably am guilty of it this year, so many of us buy as many birds as we want. It's often a joke in chicken keeping groups that folks tend to just want to collect. We want to get this breed and that breed and this breed. I just want to try these out. And I want to have chickens that produce the whole rainbow of egg production for me. I want the whole range of feathers. I want the whole range of plumage. I want the whole range of size and personality, and we end up getting way too many birds for our system. So think about what your system can actually sustain, not what you desire to have, and find that sweet spot where you're not putting too much pressure on your garden. And at the same time, we want our poultry to be an asset to our system. We don't want them to be a burden. So we don't want to have more poultry than our system can sustain, where we're having high feed costs, where we can't grow enough additional crops to supplement their diet, where they are scratching and destroying too much, where we have more eggs than we know what to do with. So consider not what you want, but what your system needs when you are adding your poultry. And that can look really different depending on your climate, the design of your system, and the needs of your household. So again, permaculture, site-specific design. I can't tell you if you have a garden that is so big or you have a farm that is 1 acre, you should have this many poultry of these different breeds and species. You need to have site-specific design. So spend some time observing and interacting with your system. Spend some time addressing what your poultry need and what your system needs, and find that harmonious balance with those and what you need. Speaking of harmony in the garden and balance in our systems, the reality when you keep livestock is you're going to end up with injuries and you're going to deal with death and you're going to deal with poultry that you just can't keep. So think about your plan. What are you capable of taking on? If you aren't raising your poultry for meat and for eggs, that doesn't mean that you're not going to face the reality of having to cull an animal because it is just absolutely obnoxious. Maybe it's injuring your other birds. Maybe it's causing a problem and you need to get rid of it. Maybe it has become injured, and the humane thing to do is to cull it because it's suffering. These are things we've got to think about when we take on poultry. Too many times I see folks posting in, backyard poultry groups where they've raised chicks and they've ended up with cockerels and they don't know what to do with them. And they'll say, I'm rehoming my roos, but you can't eat them. I want them to go to somebody who will take them as a pet. Like, you don't get a say in what somebody does with your rooster because you are abdicating your responsibility to cull it or to deal with it because it's so uncomfortable for you. If somebody else takes it and they choose to make it Linner chicken dinner, that is just the reality of the situation. Once it's off your property and belongs to somebody else, they can do what they want. You can't make those demands. So if you're going to keep poultry, think about the realities of life and death that you're going to face. And it may be something that is intolerable for you, and that shifts your decision as to whether you actually want to keep poultry or not. So when you're looking, as in my last video, those benefits of keeping poultry, know that there's a cost, and know that those benefits come when we are designing well in our systems. We need our poultry to be a benefit. We need to give them a good, humane, happy life where they are expressing the full set of behaviors that are natural to them. We aren't confining them in a way that causes suffering. We're allowing them to be free and happy and live a good life for however long they have it. If we can't provide that, we need to think about whether or not we should be keeping poultry in our permaculture system. Everything is integrated in permaculture. Our poultry can bring an asset to our system. We, as owners, need to bring a good life to them in return. Everything needs to feed into this loop of benefiting each other. That means giving our birds the best life that we can. Thanks for watching today. I hope that when you're considering adding poultry to your system, you have a very good and well thought out process, that you are using permaculture design principles, not only for the food that you're growing, not only for the way that you interact with your community, but also how you integrate your livestock into your garden so that you get the maximum benefit, so that your system gets the maximum benefit, so that your birds live a good and happy life, and they bring a benefit to every other part of your system, that we have fully integrated holistic design where every component in the system sees that the quality of life is enhanced. I'll be back really soon. Please check out my Patreon down below, and I hope that you all stay warm and well and safe. Thanks.